I'm going to let you guys know my opinion of who I think is going to win the World Series, the Super World Series at Super Middleweight. And I'm definitely picking Chris Eubank Jr. You know, I took the time to watch the runner-ups and who's in the competition. And I just think that the best guy and the most, in my opinion, the guy who is most likely to win is Chris Eubank Jr. When I look at the stacks, the runner-ups, you got guys like George Groves, you got guys like Jamie Cox, I believe Callum Smith, Rob Brandt, Chris Eubank Jr. I think when it comes to who I think are the best guys in this whole tournament, I think Chris Eubank Jr. and George Groves are the best guys. Jamie Cox, I'm not impressed with Jamie Cox. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you guys. Jamie Cox hasn't fought anybody. I don't know how good he really is. I believe he's undefeated, but I saw him when he was on the undercard of the Kell Brook versus Errol Spence Jr. I wasn't that impressed by him, to be honest. I was just looking, I was like, okay, that's it. I wasn't really impressed by him. I would imagine, because I believe George Groves is going to fight him next, I would imagine George Groves would basically expose him and beat him. I'm definitely picking George Groves to beat him. The reason why I think, like, let's just say George Groves fights, let's say George Groves beats him and then he's in line to fight Chris Eubank Jr. The reason why I'm picking Chris Eubank Jr. in this fight, when they do fight, is because George Groves has the experience. Yes, they're about the same age. George Groves is only like 28, 29. He's literally just a year older than Chris Eubank Jr., but he's been fighting at top world level for a long time. You know, this is the guy who's been in there with guys like Badaboo Jack, Carl Froch twice, James DeGale. So this is a guy who he's fought world level. So when it comes to being proven at world level, George Groves is way more proven than someone like Chris Eubank Jr. Hands down, he's way more proven. I'm not saying that. I actually wanted him to win against Fedor Chuvinov. When he fought Fedor Chuvinov for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship of the world, I remember I made a video on my original McGregor channel and I said, I hope, the video's not there anymore because the channel got terminated, but I said on the video, I said, I hope George Groves beats Fedor Chuvinov and finally becomes a champion. And the reason I said that is because I've been following George Groves' career for about 6 years, since the James DeGale fight. And he's always come up short. He's always come up short whenever he won a belt, right? When he challenged Carl Froch, he came up short. He lost against Carl Froch twice. A lot of people thought he got mistreated in the first fight because they stopped it premature. The ref stopped it premature. The second fight, he got knocked out. He fell short when he fought, what's his name? Badaboo Jack. So when he fought Fedor Chuvinov, I felt like this might be his last opportunity. So that's why I was actually really happy. And I was rooting for him when he fought Chuvinov and when he beat Chuvinov, because he finally became a champion. That being said, the reason why I'm leaning towards Chris Eubank Jr. to beat him is because George Groves, in my opinion, has a bad habit that he does. And this bad habit is he tends to fight his opponent's fights. Like, he's, in my opinion, I consider him an ambush fighter. He has the ability to fight on the back foot. But George Groves has a lot of machismo. He has a lot of, like, I'm not going to back down from you. And I think that's going to be the downside against when he fights Chris Eubank Jr. Because if you fight Chris Eubank Jr., I believe Chris Eubank Jr. is a really good inside fighter. I think Chris Eubank Jr. is at his best when you're on the inside against him. When you're all up in his grill, when you're fighting him in the pocket, that's when Chris Eubank Jr. is at his most dangerous. You want to beat Chris Eubank Jr., you got to box the guy. You got to make him come after you. Chris Eubank Jr. is not that stalker type of fighter. He's a guy who wants you to come to him so he can let his combinations go. And he has wicked combinations. He's good with uppercuts. He's good with body shots. He's good with letting his hands go. And he's good with throwing short punches on the inside. That's why he's so effective against guys like Arthur Abraham and the guy he just fought, the Yildirim guy. Because that's what he's at his best. Even Gary Sullivan, when Gary Sullivan was coming at him, he was tearing Gary Sullivan's face with uppercuts. When Nick Blackwell was coming against him, he was hitting him. He beat him up. But when he fought Billy Joe Sanders fought on the back foot and forced Chris Eubank Jr. to follow him. That's Chris Eubank Jr.'s weakness. This is why I think it's going to be a problem for someone like George Groves, because George Groves, although he has the ability to fight on the back foot and to keep it long and to move, he, like I said, has a lot of machismo. He likes to fight on the pocket himself. When he fought Carl Froch, he was doing really well. He was doing in and out, coming in forward, but he at times was standing too close to Carl Froch. He was in Carl Froch's face too much, and he gave Carl Froch the opportunity to hit him. He screwed, and he dropped the ball when in the rematch. In the rematch, he was giving Carl Froch, he was too close to Carl Froch, giving Carl Froch the opportunity to hit him, and that's how he got knocked out. Against Battle Blue Jack, he was too close. Even when he fought Fedor Shuvanov, there were times where Fedor Shuvanov, because Fedor Shuvanov was putting a lot of pressure on him, he was in his face, and there were times where George Groves would just stand right in front of Fedor Shuvanov and exchange with him, and he was getting hit, like he was getting beat up at times, and that's what Fedorov wanted. And when he did that, I remember watching it live, and I was like, oh shit. He's given Fedor Shuvanov the opportunity to get in the fight, and he was doing good. Fedor Shuvanov was like beating up George Groves, but then he got lucky. He got away with that. Imagine if he's doing that against Chris Eubank Jr. Imagine if his game plan is, I'm going to try to outbox Chris Eubank Jr., but then because he has a lot of heart, because he has a lot of machismo, because he's that type of guy where he's like, he doesn't want to back down. And let's say he decides to fight Chris Eubank Jr. at times in the pocket. He's going to give Chris Eubank Jr. the opportunity to let his own combinations off. And I think Chris Eubank Jr. is a better inside fighter than George Groves. And when he does that, when he's showing machismo, when he's all up in Chris Eubank Jr.'s face and he's like going tit for tat, like Errol Spence Jr. likes to say, and goes toe-to-toe with him, he's going to give Chris Eubank Jr. the opportunity to land really good uppercuts. He's going to give Chris Eubank Jr. the opportunity to land really good body shots. And I think that's going to be George Groves' downfall. George Groves has a lot of heart, and he has a good chin. So I wouldn't imagine Chris Eubank Jr. would stop him. I would imagine Chris Eubank Jr. would win via decision, because George Groves, one thing I like about him is he does have a lot of heart. He doesn't back down. But I think because he doesn't back down, I think that's going to be his downfall in this fight, because he's, like I said, Chris Eubank Jr. wants you to be in his grill. He wants you to be in his grill. That's his game. It's inside fighting. So if George Groves is playing into that and he gets too much machismo, he gets too, arrogant, and he tries to fight him on the inside, he's going to give Eubank Jr. the opportunity to let his hands go, and that's why I think he's going to beat him. And like I said, on top of that, George Groves has a lot of mileage in his tank. He's a guy who's been around. Even though he's only a year older than Chris Eubank Jr., he's been around. He's had so many wars. So he's basically had a lot of mileage in his tank. Chris Eubank Jr. hasn't had that type of mileage, so he's way fresher than someone like George Groves. He's way fresher in terms of damage he's received throughout his career, because he lost to Billy Joe Saunders, but he didn't get beat up by Billy Joe Saunders. He just got outboxed. So I just think he's younger than George Groves. I think he's hungrier than... One thing I could tell, Chris Eubank Jr. is hungry. I think he's hungrier than George Groves. Again, maybe I shouldn't say that, because George Groves is also hungry, but I think in terms of like desire to win, because he's never been a champion, Chris Eubank Jr., I think he really wants it, and that's why I'm leaning towards him, and I think he's going to basically outwork, probably, yeah, because he also has more of an engine than George Groves. I think he's going to outwork George Groves and become the new WBA super middleweight champion of the world. And I also think he's going to beat all the other guys in the division. James DeGale is probably going to give him hell, but like in the tournament, because Rob Grant, I know guys like Mr. Boxing Today is big on him, but I don't know how good he is. I have to see him in there with someone in the tournament to evaluate how good he is. Who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind and be like, Rob Grant or Rob Brandt will beat George Groves or Chris Eubank Jr., but I don't know how good he is. He hasn't fought anyone yet for me to, and I haven't really seen his skills like that, so I need to wait to see him fight other guys to see if I pick Chris Eubank Jr. to beat Rob Brandt. But as of right now, I think Chris Eubank Jr. beats someone like George Groves. I just think he has better inside game, and I think George Groves is going to play right into what Chris Eubank Jr. wants him to do. And that's all I have to say, guys. Please subscribe. Please thumb the video up. And like I said, I'm going to be doing some game footage with boxing commentary. So yeah, guys, hope you guys would enjoy that as well. And McGregor out. Thanks for watching.